This is Jim Nailon, the liturgical guitarist. I'm going to share my arrangement of Eagle's Wings, a hymn by Michael Jonkis. I'll play through it first, and then we'll go back through it and talk about it. Down to measure 21. Signal. That's where I end it, but if you want, you can go back and do the end ending on a B minor. E minor. Which would be the ending that's in the book. And that music's kind of hidden within here. Anyway. I made a video of this quite a while back, and it was before I had really set up my formal procedure for doing videos with two cameras. And so I'm updating that. In that video, I didn't start playing this until about 6 minutes in. I talked through it first. Also, at that time, I didn't have a contract with Oregon Catholic Press, and I could not share their sheet music. So now I do, and when I arranged this, I don't know, about 4 years ago, I added the fourth verse. In the old video, I don't even talk about the fourth verse, or I just say, it's playable, but it's kind of tricky. Well, I forgot that I'd arranged the fourth verse. I was working on this with a guitar student the other day, and he said, well, what's this? And I looked at it, and I didn't recognize it, and then I played through it, and I thought, oh my goodness, I did arrange it. So I thought it was time to put this video up so that it reflects the sheet music that I'm selling. So anyway, let's talk through it. So I'm going to start out with shows a G chord here. That looks like a D chord, but played on the 7th fret. Same fingering as a D chord. And I use my little finger to reach up and get on the 9th fret. And then I slide down on my 3rd finger, 1 fret, and drop into this D major 7th, which looks like a D minor chord, but it's up on the 5th fret. So I got my 1st finger on the 5th fret, and then the rest are laid down just in the shape of a D minor chord. And use your little finger to grab that note. And then put your first finger back up on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and reach up with your little finger to grab the, what is that? Oh, the 10th string, yeah. And then, similar, you're just fiddling around with your little finger here. Back into that D major 7th. Now, go into an F chord, so slide down on your 3rd finger. We're in measure 5, the F. But it's actually a D minor 7th, but I'm not going to quibble on that. The D in the bass. So then hammer on with your little finger. And then slide on your 3rd finger, 2 frets. And then drop right back into a D minor. This D minor on the 5th fret has your first finger on the 5th fret of the 1st string, 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string, and 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. So that's your D minor. And then, and I do a glissando, because you got to shift from here to a D minor with an F in the bass. And then bring that bass run down. So to keep some glissando there, or some legato, I'm sorry, I use a glissando. So I'm actually glissandoing on my 1st finger, and then I lift it off about here up on the 2nd fret. So that's the motion there. That makes it smoother than, you lose a little legato there. So anyway, and then back to measure 7, start of the 3rd line, bar chord of an F. Little finger goes down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Slide on the little finger up 2 frets. Lay your bar down on a G minor. And then drop into this A7 sus4. And I always, excuse me, I always, before I do this 3 bass notes in the octave here on an A, I've got the open 5th string and the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. I put kind of a retard in there, a little pause, so. Then bring it back up to tempo. D sus4, or no, D sus2 here, the open 1st string. Then an A, but the D, it's got a D on the bass, so actually the sus4 in an A is going to be the D, but it's on the open bass. I didn't write a chord over that in that measure 9, measure 10. You could call that an A sus4, I suppose, but it's not really. And then I go right back into the D, so it's just sort of a playing around with the D. The chords I write, of course, are simply for your harmonic reference. They're not gonna. You can't just play these chords and you know, if you're used to 1st position chords, and find your melody. So anyway, moving on to the E minor in measure 11. So little finger. And then measure 12. I show a 2/3 bar here. And then lift off on the bar. I play my A chord with 2 fingers, and I can do a lot of things like get that bar just by laying. And get the same effect, get 4 strings down by doing that. Anyways. Measure 12, let's start right there. Then the open E gives you a moment to, as soon as you lift lift off that bar and hit that open E string or open first string, your hands should be jumping up to this D chord here on the 5th fret. And to make that easier, what I've been telling my students is only worry about getting your 1st and 3rd fingers down. You've got an 8th note to get that 2nd finger down. So you get your 1st finger on the 5th fret of the 1st string, 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. That's your 1st chord. And then you have just a moment to get your 2nd finger down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. So if that shift is hard for you, going, it'll make it easier if you just try and get 2 notes down than trying to get all 3 down at once. Then slide down in thirds. Slide your 1st and 3rd fingers down 2 frets, and then slide on your 1st finger down 1 fret, and put your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then now you're going to slide on your 2nd finger and play the 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string and the open 1st string. Then slide on your 2nd finger up a half step, put your 3rd finger down on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and play those thirds. So you might work on that a little bit. Because I'm sliding on different fingers at different times. The reason I do that is to make it the most efficient fingering. So work on that until you get. So then you're going to jump real quick. This is a shift. There's no glissando or anything. You just have to make a fast shift from here up to this G chord, which we started out with. It's like a D chord on the 7th fret. But if you're tackling this, you can put a D chord down in your sleep. So just drop it on the 7th fret. Make a quick shift. Move your hand really fast to there. And then the open A, and then slide on your 1st finger, or glissando on your 1st finger, and then just bring that same chord shape up 2 frets. Slide up 2 frets on your 1st finger. Now we're at the top of page 2. The B minor. So you got your little finger up on the 10th fret of the 1st string. Your 3rd finger is going to be playing the the 9th fret of the 4th string. And then you move your little finger over to the 10th fret of the 2nd string. And then E minor is barred on the same fret. Your bass note's now on the 5th string. And all you don't need to play a whole E minor chord, just your 2nd finger, and then hammer on and pull off. And then your 3rd finger on the should be the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and then lift that off and do your bar. So that sounds like. And then you drop down to this E minor 9th. You got time to get these notes down, because your first 8th note there of time is just playing open strings. Then A7, then a D chord, and then D sus4, D sus2, hammer on. And then that's going to take you to measure 21. But first, let me go back up to the top of page 2, and that B minor chord. One thing that I've done since I wrote this out is let's go back one measure to the bottom of page 1, the last measure there. You're on the G. Right there. Instead of hitting the 2nd string on the 10th fret, I usually hammer on my little finger and in an anticipation of where that little finger needs to be up on the 10th fret of the first string. So it's right there, and then I can drop into the B minor. So it sounds like this. And I actually hammer on this note on the E minor. What that does for me, you could hammer on or you could pluck it, and then that way your little finger's already there when you're going to that B minor, and it makes it real smooth and legato. There's no you can do that. You can do it the way it's written. That's not a problem. But I'm lazy and take the easy opportunity, and I find that it's easier for me to have my little finger up there. That way I never miss that note. And it's an important note. It's the high note. Okay, now we're going into measure 21, which is uncharted territory for me until a couple days ago. So it's the verse 4 in the song. The song has the same melody in verse 1, 2, and 3, but in verse 4, the melody, the second half of it changes a little bit, in the chord structure and the harmony. So it starts out again, pretty much, I just do a variation here using triplets. On that, just fiddling around with my, you can do whatever you want here. I'm just trying to mimic some of the melodies in the verses. For to his angels he's, and then now we're next line, measure 24, the D major 7. And this is still, we haven't changed yet. Now we're going to the F chord. And here's where it changes. At the end of measure 25. Now drop your little finger where your third finger is. Replace your third finger here with your little finger. And go down and grab this first fret of the third fret of the first string, sorry. And then drop in a little half bar on a G minor and play the D bass, open D, and little finger grabs that note, and then put the little finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string and slide it to the 8th fret, and then drop the A minor down with your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. Then your 2nd finger is going to grab the 6th fret of the 1st string, that B flat. And then you have to slide up slide your bar up a half fret. As you slide your bar up a half fret, your 2nd and 3rd fingers are going to switch around here. Your 3rd finger's on the 8th fret of the 1st string, and your 2nd finger is now on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And then you lift off the 3rd finger to the bar, and then your little finger has to stretch way up to the 10th fret. Way up here, that's not too much of a stretch. So, and then your 3rd finger plays the 8th fret. So let's look at that A minor B flat thing. So we're even going before that, we're sliding into it with our little finger, which puts us up here to where our 1st finger is right over the 5th fret. We can 2nd finger down, and then, so you got to get this shift and getting these fingers there. There's no secrets to make that legato. It's just got to be done fast. But it's not a big shift. You're not moving, numerous frets here. You're just going up 1 fret. And then back to the A sus4, just like the other verse. And there's those 3 notes with a retard. You play the chorus there. You go back to the signo, which is measure 9, the start of the refrain. He will raise you up on eagle's wings, and you just follow that through to the top of page 2, and then you take the second ending. Let's see. Taking the second ending. And if you want to do the coda, you could, and then you just go right back up to the top of page 2. Stretch the melody out. A whole measure on the B minor, and then the E minor. The A7. So the coda is not hard to add. I didn't want to go into 3 pages. So anyway, that's Eagle's Wings. Yeah, I debated a long time before I replaced the video because it's my most popular guitar video. I think it's got a little over 50,000 hits now. And it had my old cat Sonny. Sonny passed away a little over a year or 2 ago, and we miss him. But made that video just after we got Sonny, and so I could always remember what year we got Sonny because I could just look it up on that video. Anyway, enough of that. I think I've covered this. That's all I have for this song. Look for more arrangements on liturgicalguitarist.com. I pray God blesses your playing, and I wish you peace.